Well, in the past I've made salmon jerky and my family loves it. It never lasts long in the refrigerator. But today I thought I'd make something different. I'm going to try making what they used to call Indian candy or squaw candy, which is salmon and kind of a jerky. It usually doesn't get as dry as a jerky, however. And if you don't have a dehydrator, you can still make this, because I'm going to make this right in my oven. And I'm going to make it using my skinless salmon fillet from Sam's Club. Now, this is about $24.62 worth of salmon, and it is 2.73 pounds. So, I sure hope this turns out well, otherwise I have spoiled a very expensive piece of fish. But it sure sounds good. Let's get started. Now, the first thing we're going to do is cut this fillet up in slices. Now, what you'd think is that we'd be cutting pieces like this, because that's natural. See the way the cuts go here on the fillet? But that means they're going to fall apart easier. So we're actually cutting pieces longitudinally. Let's take our kitchen scissors here. Let's see, we want about 2 inches, so yeah, maybe about right here. There's one piece. Get this back a little further. There's another. And we'll cut one more here. Then we're just going to be cutting them in pieces like this. As long as you get kitchen scissors, this makes it really easy. So I'll be back when I have all the pieces cut up. Okay, we got all of our slices cut up. Now it's time to make the marinade. Well, it looks like I lost my record here, but what I did was put 1.5 cups of sugar and 1/2 cup of kosher salt and mixed it up really well. Then I lined this Pyrex glass dish with it, and then I'm putting in the pieces here, and then I'm gonna put the rest of this on top. So this is a cure. It's really, you know, earlier I said marinade. It's really not a marinade, it's a cure. So we're just giving them nice frosting over it. Good here. Okay, get right there, right there, and maybe right there. That's pretty good. Smoosh it down here. And I put what would have been the skin side, although this came deskinned, but up, so the other's face down. And now we have it all in this sugar and salt mixture. And now it's going to go in the refrigerator for 12 hours. In my case, it's going to go in overnight. So it's the next morning, and you're going to see my nightgown sleeves come in, because I haven't got dressed yet. But can you see this is turned kind of soupy? That's because of the juice of the salmon. So we want to pat these dry as well as we can. And we're going to let them air dry for about 30 minutes. So we're going to take them all out. Just pat them well. And put them in here. So I'll be back when I'm done. So we have them all patted dry. You want to make sure there isn't any white crusty stuff on it, because you don't want it too salty. And now we're just going to let it air dry for 30 minutes. But now the directions said put it on a rack, which I'm sure would be best, but I don't have a rack to fit this pan. So I'm using, this is the non-stick sheets, whatever they call them. And I figure when I make it in the dehydrator, my other salmon jerky, I put it on the sheets as opposed to the actual rack. So I think this will turn out fine. But if you have a rack, use it. While this is sitting out 30 minutes to dry, okay, you want to set your oven to 170 degrees. Now for me to be able to do this, I had to put it on the convection bake setting. If you can't get it down to 170, do it at 200 degrees Fahrenheit and just don't leave it in the oven the full 6 hours. We'll be back when our half hour is done. So here we have a half a cup of pure real maple syrup. And then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. And then 1.5 teaspoons of liquid smoke. Yeah, I'd say that's about a half. And 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Bring this up a little. Now we're just going to want to mix this all up. And this is going to make our glaze. We're going to use this every hour on our salmon. Okay, that seems pretty good. Now we're just going to dip in the sauce, and then we're going to use our baster here, and we're going to baste each piece. Maple sugar goodness. And don't be stingy with the basting because we got plenty of sauce here, or glaze I should say. And remember, you've had your oven going to 170 degrees, so it's preheated. And this is sticky stuff. Cover it well. And we're almost done here. Now if you don't have a non-stick mat like that, you want to use parchment paper or aluminum foil would be good, because with all this sticky brown sugar and maple syrup, it's gonna stick. Okay, we're ready now to put it in the oven. Flip it in our oven and set a timer for 1 hour. So I took these out. It's been an hour. And now we're just going to flip them over. They're warm to the touch, but it's not hot. Oops, a little left there. I don't like to see that. Now, maybe I need to use something. Is it this one? So maybe it's not always good using fingers. Guess I'll dislodge it with that and then turn it with this. And I'll be back when I get these all turned over. Okay, what I learned here, if you kind of just wiggle it back and forth, you can, there we go. You don't need that. So just wiggle, turn, wiggle, turn, and wiggle, turn. these a little. Time again to do our basting. And every hour we're going to do this for 6 hours, although check carefully at 5 hours. We're going to turn them over every hour and baste. So I will be back at the end of the 6 hours. Believe me, this already smells really good. Be back when we're ready. Got 1 more hour, and this time we're not putting on any maple syrup mixture. Just putting on some fresh pepper. Maybe a little too much. Take some of it off. Actually, it looks good enough. You know, this piece is really thin. I would think it would be done. I think I'll try it. Just see. Moist. It's good. I can't wait for the thicker pieces. This is really good. Now we're going to put it back in the oven for another hour. Okay, it's been a half hour. I'm going to take a little taste test here. Very tender. Not chewy like jerky. A hint of sweetness. And a little pepper. Pretty salty though. Good. These would be good with nice cold beer. I think if I make them again, I would rinse the brine off them before, not just pat it off, because I think they're a little salty, or maybe not leave them in the brine for a full 12 hours or overnight. But these are good. I don't think they're, I think actually my other salmon jerky recipe is actually a bit better. These are good, but I really, really like that salmon jerky. Anyway, I hope you try some Indian candy or salmon candy. This is Potpourri saying please subscribe, share the knowledge, and thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you.